Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Geeks and Noobs podcast. I am your host, SuperBeard Vince Hoover. I am joined as always by Kel McBride, aka Kel McCosplay. If you've noticed anything different, we've changed our look up a bit. We got a newer logo, which figure out how I'm pointing. It's over there. It's over there. Also that means we've got new merch. So if you scroll down below, if you're on Twitch, first off, please follow. I'd greatly appreciate it. You could subscribe. You can always use your Prime subscription. Make Jeffrey Bezos paid for it. Costs you nothing. Get a month subscription. Helps us out big time. But if you look down in the merch, we got a new hoodie, a new 3/4 sleeve baseball style shirt, and a new t-shirt. So you've got those there. And from what I understand, shipping has gotten pretty good recently. Shipping stuff has gotten handled. And so it should get to you pretty quickly as well. And of course, all of that helps out the channel. If you are on YouTube, you can find our merch store either by going over to Twitch, or you can go to go to the geeksandnoobs.live. And that's the geeksandnoobs.live. Merch store is on there as well as the channel. If you are on YouTube, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. All of that helps. We greatly appreciate it. So as we told you last week, we're going to be making some kind of format changes, some different changes. Obviously, we made a different look. Here's a whole new look. Everything else. All in all, we're looking to just give you guys what you want and break it up into segments. So before I get further into that, Kel, how are you doing?
Doing all right. It's been a pretty long day, but I'm here. I'm hanging out with my buddy. We're gonna talk nerd stuff, so I'm all good to go, buddy.
It is good. And we mentioned it last week. We're going to be covering some San Diego Comic-Con stuff. It is San Diego Comic-Con week. The convention is back in person in full force. And with it, both Marvel and DC are returning for the first time in years to Hall H, so that's huge. So we're going to talk about what to expect out of the weekend, what rumors and stuff that might pop off. Also, this Saturday, we're not 100% confirming this, but keep an eye out. Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I gotta do math. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Do the math in between. Marvel will be going live at Hall H for the Marvel Studios MCU panel. The big one. So Kel and I, if we can work it out, will go live here on our channel and basically kind of do a watch along / discuss whatever pops off kind of thing. So we'll keep that in mind. And we're going to discuss the rumors of what we could find out here pretty soon. But before we do that, we're going to start off with just the news that's going around. And kind of the big story not involving Comic-Con is this Zack Snyder Snyderverse movement news. For those of you who haven't heard, it has recently come out that upon a investigation of sorts, it turns out that some of the release the Snyderverse, the hashtag that was so huge, might have been bots. Now, according to the story, I believe it was Variety. They're saying that 13% of the hashtags were bots. And the typical hashtag that gains a ton of traction, typical viral hashtag, has between 3 to 5% bots. So this is a nearly 3 times as many bots, which seems like a lot. And so people are losing their minds over it. And so, Kel, I'll let you kind of dive into your feelings on the story, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper in.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I really wasn't that surprised because I know the Snyder fans are a breed of their own, to say it nicely. But also, we all knew that Zack Snyder really wanted to get his version of this movie out there. So to hear something like this, that probably happened, it's not surprising to me at all because he Snyder just wanted to make this version of the film, and then Goss Wheaton just totally butchered it. I still haven't seen the theatrical cut yet,
Don't
and I
bother.
probably never will. I
Bother.
probably never will. Yeah.
Promise you, don't bother.
Yeah. I mean, I did watch the Snyder Cut finally a while back when I had HBO Max, and it was okay, in my opinion. I mean, I didn't think it was wonderful, but I didn't think it was god awful.
Yeah, no, yeah. It is leaps and bounds. It's Citizen Kane compared to the theatrical version. And I actually enjoyed it, but I feel like it was only 4 hours because Warner Brothers decided that if we're gonna pay this guy $70 million or spend $70 million to reshoot this movie, we're gonna use every bit of footage that he used. And so
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's a movie before it gets cut down. And so had that movie been cut down, it would have been probably exceptional, to be honest. Um Also, if you took out most of the slow-mo, it probably would have been only 3 hours versus 4.
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, the release the Snyder cut people and the restore to Snyderverse people, as you put it, are a breed of their own. I'll be less nice. They're toxic assholes. Not all of them, but a majority.
Yeah.
They're out review bombing other movies, like not even like just Marvel movies, not even just DC movies. They review bomb like Minion movie and like all kinds of stuff, just trying to crush movie, and for no other reason than they have to prove that their god Zack Snyder is the end all be all of directors.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder himself seems like a decent enough guy, but has some toxic tendencies. And I'll let you bring up what he said.
Yeah. In some notes that got leaked with the story, he was saying that Jeff and John is trying to remove their names from my cut, and I will ruin them on social media. I was like, "Are you trying to channel your inner Lex Luthor right now, Zach, or what's going on?"
Yeah, yeah. He definitely pulled off some villain vibes with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole situation. Which again, it's partially understandable in a sense that like
yeah. It is
Warner Brothers did
considering.
him dirty, straight
Yeah,
up dirty, because they're like, oh,
yeah,
he left because his daughter committed suicide. No, that was absolutely why he needed to walk away, but Warner Brothers used that as a reason to basically fire him from the project.
yeah.
They straight up did him dirty. Omar523, absolutely totally random. I wanted Vince, your thoughts on the 2022 Nathan's hot dog eating contest. You know, I've heard some things about that as well. It's talking about toxic. Apparently a vegan tried to, I guess, stage a protest in the middle of the contest by getting up on stage and getting in the way of them eating.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah,
And we found out that champion and world record holder Joey Chestnut is not only a badass when it comes to eating, but a badass in general, because he straight up put a rear naked choke on that person and took
yeah.
them down. While still eating and still broke his own record.
Right.
Uh Absolutely astounding. I can't watch the hot dog eating contest. I can't watch people like shovel food like that.
Yeah,
I find it fascinating, and I think these people he didn't break his record. Damn, I thought they said he broke his record. But still he won.
yeah.
And that in of itself. But yeah, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. I saw this amazing video on TikTok and I wish I had saved it. And it was this woman, and it was called the Diaries of a Former Vegan. And She basically has a whole series of videos where she breaks down why being a vegan is terrible for your body and how it's actually not healthy and all this other stuff, and even being a vegetarian. And like, I have no hate against vegetarians or vegans. I actually like eating a lot of like vegetable based stuff. Like, I like I mean, I love my meat, but at the same time, I can go a week or two on a eating just a vegetarian style diet and be happy. But if I do need my, I do need my, and yeah, it's not vegans or vegetarians that are the problem. It's what I like to refer to as Facebook vegans, the ones that have to tell you at every single moment that they can that they're vegan.
Yeah.
And fuck those guys. Like, straight up. Like, oh, I gotta fix the chat. I forgot to fix that. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It is straight up ridiculous. And it should never ever be like that. Like, there's no reason for you to act that way. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And I mean, it kind of ties into what we're talking about with Zack Snyder and the Snyder Cut people, who are, like I said, they're going out there and they're review bombing other movies and trying to tank them at the box office and all this other stuff, and just because they want to get their way and they want things to go their way, which is exactly the same as this vegan who's trying to protest and try to pull some moral higher ground, like, oh, well, I don't eat meat because they have a soul and they have a voice, and but they can't speak for themselves, so I speak for them. I was like, well, guess what? Plants talk to each other too.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna eat now? Air? Your whole criteria for not eating meat is the fact that these things can talk? Yeah, so like, it's just, why do you have to ruin other people's day and other people's fun
Because misery loves company.
just because you didn't get what you wanted? And then you get what you wanted and it wasn't enough. And now you got to do more. And that's the thing with like vegans and the Snyder Cut people. So like, the Snyder Cut people are the vegans of the comic fandom.
I say that's
Not
fair.
all of them are bad, but the ones that are out there and being vocal make them all look bad. Yeah, and the Nathan's hot dog eating contest does do a lot for charity. They do a lot for charity. They raise a ton of money for charity. You're absolutely right. And a lot of those food eating competitions do. Like, a lot of them do. And a lot of them specifically put that money back into feeding the homeless and feeding the poor and into food banks and stuff like that. Because people are like, oh, you're wasting food. Well, first off, not really. They're all eating it. Second, they understand how it looks. They understand there's a need out there to feed others, and they help do that at their charities. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, that's the best way I can put it. Is the release the Snyderverse fandom are the vegans of the fandom, and quite frankly, they need help. Not all of them. Like I said, not all of them. Not all of them. Just that vocal. I want to say minority, but I don't know if it's actually the minority.
Yeah, I mean,
But I'll say it for now. The vocal minority are making them look bad. But yeah, I just don't think the Snyder Cut fans need to take a step back and realize that they're not helping. They're not helping their cause by acting the way they're acting.
yeah.
And it's one of those things where victory goes to your head. Let's not do that. But at the same time, now let's play devil's advocate on that story. People are freaking out. Oh my god, it was bots, it was bots, it was bots. 13%. Let's do the math here. That means 87% were real. So if there were 1 million people on this hashtag, 870,000 of them were real people. There were well over 1 million. You know what? I think we could safely say 10 million. We could probably say a lot more than that. But at
Probably.
10 million, that means that 8.7 million of them were real people. So yes, what 13% may be more than the average amount of bots you see on a hashtag. It's still not enough to clarify it as, oh, maybe the movement shouldn't have happened, or maybe the release by Warner Brothers shouldn't have happened. You still had 87% of the people actually asking.
Mhm.
So I don't know. But that is the big story going around right now. And it'll be interesting when we get to hear more from Zack Snyder on it. I'm sure he won't stay quiet. He very rarely does.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, so Amber Heard, we're not going to talk about her. That's a whole new level of toxic that we don't need to cover. Plus, that's getting enough traction as it is.
True.
Plus, that woman's probably going to be extradited to Australia and going to jail. So good for her.
Hey.
But that's also like, the whole domestic abuse situation. I don't want to get into it. It's not something that like it's. I understand both sides of that argument, but at the end of the day, all I'm gonna say is I think Amber Heard watched the movie Gone Girl too many times.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's all I'll say about that. But as we talked about before, San Diego Comic-Con. Now there was supposedly a big leak of everything that Marvel's going to talk about this year. And I have kind of avoided that topic up until now because I feel like a lot of times if the rumors end up being true, it ruins the surprise of San Diego Comic-Con.
Mhm.
You look back at 2018 and they released all the Phase 4 stuff and how our minds were blown. But if you're going into that panel knowing everything that's going to happen, it is going to have almost no impact on you.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of a, yep, I knew it. Yep, I knew it. And that's not definitely not the same feeling. But that being said, we're going to look at the rumors. Kind of gauge whether we think they're true or not. And see, whoop, wrong one. Here we go. So these are 15 predictions of what to expect based on these rumors. One of the first ones is to expect a brand new She-Hulk trailer and possibly some surprise appearances at the panel. I mean that seems almost like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Considering that show comes out August 17th, which I'm really looking forward to and I can't wait to cover on this show.
Yeah.
And also I think the new trailer will have a more finalized VFX versus the first trailer so people can shut up about that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I'm tired of hearing about the VFX. But just in general, like just stop. Stop. But looks like we're gonna be, possibly getting a trailer. So like do you think is that something you think is possible?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, with it coming up so close, there's no reason for them not to. Especially if they can show a trailer with some finished visual effects compared to what we did get before. Yeah, they definitely want to. I definitely think that Marvel's going to show that. Yeah, She-Hulk's going to look better when the show debuts compared to when we got the trailer out, because it takes a long time to render those things just right. I mean, you really think that we would have got a trailer featuring Hulk in Infinity War or even Avengers early, and he looked uh, undefined like She-Hulk did before the first Avengers came out?
Yeah, I just like something that people don't consider either is that we're having to play catch up still.
Yeah.
From a whole year off. One of the complaints right now of Phase 4 is that we're getting so much in such little time. Well, if we didn't have a pandemic that shut the entire world down for a year or 18 months, it wouldn't have been like this. It would have been more spread out. They would have had more
Oh
time
yeah.
on these projects. But I mean, like even like Spider-Man No Way Home. If you saw it opening night and then went back 2 weeks later and saw it again, there were adjustments made. They were still doing visual effects adjustments while the movie was released. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's unheard of, but we live in an unheard of time right now, especially when it comes to movies, because that whole industry shut down for, 18 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people need to chill out. Also, there's a lot of people who are mad that this is going to be a legal comedy. And I had made the comparison, for lack of a better term, it'll be like Ally McBeal with superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredibly dated reference, but it's the best one I can come up with.
It really is. I mean, I remember being young
Maybe
and
I can go Boston Legal. That's slightly newer,
yeah,
not by much.
not by much.
But that does have James Spader in it, who's a MCU alum.
Uh-huh. And
There you go.
that show was actually really good with Spader in it.
William Shatner was great too.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's it. People, it's like, it's funny to me because people want to yell and scream about it not being. It'll be too funny and campy. And I'm like, did you ever read a She-Hulk comic?
For
Ever?
reals.
First off, first character really in the MCU in the Marvel comics to break the fourth wall,
Mm-hmm.
and she did it in the 70s,
Yeah.
long before Deadpool even existed.
Way.
Nearly 30 years before Deadpool even existed. She-Hulk #1 came out in 1972. So let me give you that clue.
Yep.
And not only did she break the fourth wall, she spoke directly to the writer a lot of times. Like, she would talk directly to John Bryan. It was hilarious. But she's always been very, like, part of being a Hulk is it amplifies your inner feelings. But like, so in Banner's case, it was this suppressed traumatic rage that came out as this giant rage monster. Jennifer Walters doesn't necessarily have that. More so, she's kind of timid, kind of reserved.
Mm-hmm.
So her more ambitious and more flirtatious side comes out.
Yeah.
She-Hulk's had a lot of partners.
Oh yeah.
A lot of partners. So like the whole dating scene was like spot on for the character in that trailer. I loved it so much. And she's just more confident and she's more herself. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what they do with it, and it should be a lot of fun.
You know, it's really weird when you were describing She-Hulk in the trailer like that. I got such Catwoman vibes with Halle Berry, how she was at first, very timid.
Yeah, that
And
fiasco of a film. But yes, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
But also
Man,
kind of like Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, yeah. You,
But yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun, and there's a possibility of maybe even Matt Murdock signing. Although, like, I just don't see Matt Murdock being in this show. He practices law in New York. The show takes place in California.
yeah.
I just don't see it.
No.
Plus, with them planning a new Daredevil series, which is going to kind of, as Charlie Cox put it, it'll be Daredevil Born Again, which is one, a nod to the comics because one of his best runs was the Born Again series. But two, they're going to kind of not ignore, but kind of just not really pay attention to those 3 seasons on Netflix. Some other rumors that have come out, not necessarily with San Diego Comic-Con, but they've talked about how Daisy Johnson's Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be coming into the MCU, but she will not be the same character she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's more and more evidence going towards what I've told people for years now, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a Netflix series, they're not canon. They're part of the multiverse, but they're not words. They're not part of the MCU 616. and that's what we're getting now. So I don't necessarily think we're going to get Matt Murdock in this series, but that is part of the rumors, so we'll see. What's next on the list? Okay, so this is something that I've actually been I've made a few TikToks about this today. We talked about this before we went on stream about Chadwick Boseman. We're supposed to get footage, if not the first trailer, for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And we're also supposed to get confirmation of Namor being anti-hero / villain of the film, whatever. So that one, again, these are rumors, but that one, again, just like the She-Hulk one, feels like a no-brainer. And the surprise for that comes from the actual trailer itself. So that one, I don't feel like it ruins anything either. It's just seeing the footage.
Yeah.
What do this is such a hard film to pull off right now.
Mm-hmm.
With the loss of Chadwick Boseman and trying to honor him the best they can. Just, it's so hard and so difficult. And I know there's this movement of people who want T'Challa recast, but you just can't recast that character. Can't.
No, there's no possible way you can, because everybody, I never heard of anybody who watched any film with Chadwick Boseman playing T'Challa as Black Panther say one bad thing about him. Not one thing. Everybody was up here with Chadwick when he was alive, and now that unfortunately he's passed because of his cancer that he had. His pedestal is way up here now. So to recast anyone as T'Challa would never get to the same height as the pedestal that the fans have put on that character and Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
there's just no way. Like you said earlier, you could not even cast Denzel Washington, one of the best actors
in the world,
one of the best African American actors ever, at least in our generation. Let's say that.
I would say one of the best actors ever. I think he's one of the best ever.
You couldn't even cast him as T'Challa, and people would still buy it.
Yeah, you're casting another actor to go into into what Chadwick had done, the grace and elegance and just pure perfection he put into that role. It's like asking somebody to climb Mount Everest in just a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. Can't be done.
No.
It can't be done. And he just passed away August of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
If it hadn't been for the pandemic, this film would have already been released. So you're asking him to be recast not even a year after he passed away? That just seems wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, with what happened with, the Joker and Heath Ledger. Nobody wanted to touch the Joker for years. Then we got Suicide Squad, and we saw the fiasco that happened with that. But everybody compares everything to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what would happen here. Anybody else playing T'Challa, it would just be... Now, a couple years down the line, thanks to the multiverse, you can have a variant of T'Challa show up.
Yeah.
That's possible. But here's the great thing about Black Panther. It's a mantle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people. Yeah. You have a lot of people that can take up the mantle and do it well and not have to worry about the overhanging legacy of T'Challa.
Yeah, here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Marvel took Heath Ledger's death and the mantle of Joker in consideration? You're comparing Ledger to Leto and the fiasco that Suicide Squad was, and everybody hated that. Do you think that Marvel took that into account since they're not planning on recasting?
I don't think so, and only because producer and Marvel Vice President Nate Moore He did an interview and he talked about it, and he said he spoke with Ryan Coogler, and they very quickly came up with the decision not to recast. So I don't even think they had time to think of it. They just knew that was something that it wasn't going to work. It was something you're asking too much. And Anthony Mackie did an interview that I'm going to do some TikToks on to show people, where he was asked that question. Now, he's known Chadwick since 1998. They met in 98. They'd known him for a long time. He's just like, no, you can't recast it, because nobody will ever be able to live up to that. And I understand that Chadwick's brother has come out recently and said that he thinks that Chadwick would want that to be recast. And there's an interview that people are kind of taking out of context where Chadwick had said about any role he had done, he would want it to continue on after he passed. He wouldn't want it to go away because he was gone. But again, he's also not, at the time of that interview, I don't think he was sick. It was also a time when he wasn't talking specifically about black men. He was just talking about any role. But also he was such a humble and modest person. He's never going to think about the fact that he himself did so much for that role and put so much in. Like, he is such a phenomenal actor. If anybody's never seen it, there's a movie he did, the James Brown biopic, Get On Up.
Yeah.
Phenomenal film. Such a good film. Of course, 42, the Jackie Robinson story. I dare somebody to find me an even mediocre role that he has done. Not a bad one. I dare somebody to find me a mediocre one. Because it just hasn't happened. Even in movies that aren't, there are a couple movies he's done that aren't good. One was, I think it was called 46 Blocks or something. Something like that. Where he was a cop. He's amazing. He is amazing in that terrible movie. It is not a well-written movie, but he is so good in it.
He's a diamond in the rough.
That dude was exceptional beyond belief when it came to acting. So good. So good. But yeah. So, yeah, I think we'll get a trailer and maybe a reveal for
Namor.
That's the word. Namor.
See, I got you.
Cat box. Give me a second.
Why do I feel like I just need some cue cards that say stuff like experiencing technical difficulties or something like that?
All right. Okay. Fortunately, that clears chat, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe this. Yeah, maybe that'll help. All right, we'll go with that. Anyways. All right. Another one that seems kind of obvious is that we're going to get a proper reveal for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as well as the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Tie that with the current rumor that came out just a few hours ago that Will Poulter is said to be at San Diego Comic-Con. He's playing Adam Warlock.
Okay.
I'm still not sure about that casting, but we'll see. Yeah, this is another one that feels kind of like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely would. I mean, especially, because when's Guardians 3 coming out? It's
I'll pull up the release list. Hold on.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Keep talking, I'll find it.
Yeah, we're getting the holiday special this year, correct?
Yes, that we're getting this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, if they didn't have a trailer for that or some notes about that, it'd be very surprising since it's coming up so soon. So, yeah, everything that's coming out for the rest of this year and maybe a little bit next year, I would expect to get some stuff on.
But, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So we got May of next year is when that film comes out.
May of next year.
Yeah, so we got the holiday special this year. Then we'll have that May of next year. So it makes sense. Like, I don't expect to see a trailer or anything.
No.
But it would make sense that we're gonna get something.
Yeah.
Maybe our first look at Adam Warlock, considering that Will Poulter's supposed to be there. It'll probably be more focused on the Christmas special, the holiday special. But
Which
I'm
that's
sure
going to
there'll
be
be something.
interesting to see. I was like,
I'm looking forward to it. I understand what he's doing. It is completely a nod to the Star Wars holiday special, which is one of the worst things
Yeah.
in a Star Wars thing ever. But it is the first appearance of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's about it.
But yeah. So it'll be a nod to that. It'll be great. Maybe we'll get some ideas of some new songs that'll be in the films. Who knows?
Yeah, if only we could have had B. Arthur in this.
It would have been great. Would have been great. So we're supposed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which comes out in February. There's a possibility of some looks at that, as well as maybe a look at Kang, like of what the Kang in that film will actually look like.
Maybe some composite art.
And there's another rumor, and I don't know if they're gonna actually bring this up in the panel, but there is a rumor that Corey Stoll is returning, the guy who played Yellow Jacket in the first Ant-Man movie. But that he's not returning as Yellow Jacket, he's returning as MODOK. This is actually a rumor that's been around for like 2 years now.
Huh.
But considering if you think about how he got sucked into the quantum realm. Think about how his body went. Leg in, arm in, torso crushed, head kind of crushed, and then sucked into the quantum realm. And of course, we know that there's a quantum city in the quantum realm, which is tied directly to Kang the Conqueror in the comics. Kang could have found him in this obviously debilitated state of his body being crushed and has turned him into MODOK. If that is the case, I was already looking forward to this film. I'm 1,000 times now just absolutely fascinated by what this could be. Just insane.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't given that much thought because, most time I stay away from rumors and everything like that because, I want to just go in and be surprised at what I see in these films. But, I mean, yeah, that's certainly possible.
I think that's the only way you can really introduce MODOK without going the AIM route and trying to make AIM a big thing. Like, and we had AIM, Iron Man 3, and haven't touched on it since. So you'd have to kind of redo AIM, almost like when that guy died, I took over and it became this. But then they would have to be part of kind of like Hydra, how Hydra built through the earlier MCU. And even then, they were still kind of a throwaway. I think that this would be an interesting way to bring in MODOK. I think Corey Stoll is great. I think Corey Stoll is great. I think he would make a great MODOK. That would be interesting to see. But I think the main thing that we got to pull from this is we're probably going to see some stuff about Kang specifically. Sorry, I'm just currently banning a bot trying to sell us stuff. Okay.
Bye bye.
So.
But do you think that would bring up a little convoluted...
Mega Death Knight? Fuck you, bot. Yes, I agree. Mega Death Knight, welcome. If you can, hit that follow button. Get yourself a dancing penguin. There it is! Dancing penguin!
But anyway, do you think that would cause any convolution from the Captain America and Winter Soldier, wherein they introduced Zola?
Well, no, because that was Armand Zola.
Okay.
Excuse me. And in the comics, Armanzola had a computer head on a body.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, I don't think that would be any confusion there because I don't think we're going to see it won't be a computer head. It'll obviously be like a floating head kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, just be prepared to make those replies to TikTok videos when if
Oh, it's
that
going to
does.
happen. Oh, I'm
Oh yeah.
sure. Trust me. I'm
Yeah.
preparing myself.
Just go ahead and write down some comebacks and right
Yeah.
now.
People are stupid. I love fans, but people in general are stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's not a problem. It'll be interesting to see how they pull it off in live action, like how it looks. MODOK is obviously a very interesting looking character. It is kind of a shame we're not getting Patton Oswalt. He did a fantastic job on the
I was going to bring that up
series
too.
on Hulu.
Yeah.
But at the same time, by putting Corey Stoll in that role, you are making MODOK a slightly more serious character.
Yeah. Because it would be very hard to take Patton Oswalt seriously.
Yeah.
Especially if he actually legit tried to be a serious villain. But you would just hear that voice and be like,
there was also a rumor that started right before the Corey one 2 years ago that Jim Carrey was going to play that role.
Really?
Which would have been great.
Mm.
Jim Carrey, for all his comedic chops, is still a hell of a dramatic actor as well.
Yeah.
Truman Show's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite movies of his is a movie that doesn't get enough credit at all. It's a movie called The Number 23.
Yes, I was going to bring that up too.
What a phenomenal film that is.
And it's so sad that people are just like, what is this? He wasn't funny during the whole thing. It was like, that was the point of the film. He was trying to branch out and not just be a silly face comedian. But,
it's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He's really good.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see him in the MCU, but I also get it. I get, he can do what he wants, and he doesn't like Hollywood, which I understand completely.
Yeah.
Hollywood sucks. All right. So, yeah. So, we'll probably get a better look at Kang. Hopefully. Going back to the holiday special, there's another kind of holiday special meant to come out this year. I think it's this year. And, but it's not for Christmas. For Halloween. The Werewolf by Night special.
Yeah, I have not heard very much on this at all, except for when we talk about it.
Yeah, this year. This Halloween. I don't even know who's in it. The only thing I know is it's being directed by Michael Giacchino. I don't know if I pronounced his last name right or not, which if I didn't, hopefully, people will forgive me. But people might know him as the guy who's done a lot of the music for Marvel and other movies.
Oh, really?
He's a composer. This is his first directing role. And the reported actor for it, Byron Priest. You'll have to explain that comment to me. I missed something here. So, Gael Garcia Bernal is supposedly set to star in the role. Trying to think of the best ways I can describe this guy to people who don't know the name. Anybody who saw the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old? He played the main character in that. What else has he been in? He was in The Mother with Jennifer Lopez. He voiced Hector in Pixar's Coco. He did the Motorcycle Diaries, Babel, other stuff. He's a good actor. He's a really good actor. I believe he's. Hold on. I believe he's from Spain. Oh, bring up the book. Oh, the secret. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, no, that's not what the bot was selling us. They were selling us crap. Anyways, yeah. So, good actor, great actor. I think he's fantastic. Um,
Is it too late to kind of wish that I kind of hope they change his character's name in the Halloween special, especially if it's Werewolf by Night, because I still think that Jack Russell is one of the most terrible hero names you could have, especially when your character turns into a werewolf.
well, apparently they're gonna go with the name Jack Gomez or Jake Gomez. So that's what they're gonna
That's
go with.
better. That's
Yeah,
better than
yeah. Jack Russell, not so much.
you have your werewolf, non-werewolf character when he's human named Jack Russell. Come on, Marvel.
So yeah,
I,
I,
I'm sorry. That's just
I
a pet peeve I've
yeah,
had since I
it's
got into
that's just.
Moon
I
Knight.
mean, but is that not just a common comic trope though? Comic books did
Yeah,
that crap all the time.
I mean, I would rather have the standard uh first and the same first and last initial like you have for so many characters. You know,
Yeah,
Peter
the
Parker, Fing Fang
alliteration. Yeah.
Foom. Um, who else?
Lois Lane, Lana
That,
Lang,
yeah,
Peter Parker, Clark Kent, even
Dun
Clark Kent, even though it's
Dugan.
CK.
Yeah.
Yeah, the alliteration thing. Yeah, that's very common. But yeah, so they're gonna go with the name Jake Gomez. But
Okay.
apparently, like we have, I mean, I would imagine we at this point it's July. I would imagine we get a trailer,
Yeah,
right?
some news on it because
Because
they have not.
there's
They've
been
not.
nothing.
Yeah.
So rumor has it that we could get the full works title, trailer, and casting.
That'd be good. I mean, because like we said, there's not hardly any news about this at all. And you think they would have promoted it a little bit with the release of Moon Knight, or at least sometime after Moon Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Speaking of Moon Knight, though, could they have possibly filmed a post credit scene or something that with Oscar Isaac for this series? I mean, obviously, Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight are very intrinsically entwined. And I know that Oscar Isaac didn't sign up for any more projects, but they did leave it very wide open for him to come back.
Especially with the Jake Lockley end credit scene.
Yeah, and it was very much well received, so I would assume he would come back.
And I've also went back and rewatched Moon Knight a while back. And if you watched in the first episode, that the end of the credits, not an end credit scene, but the actual credits themselves. In the first episode, you just see the Moon Knight costume that we saw at the very end of that first episode, and that was it. Once we got to the second episode and we got the Mr. Knight suit, you had the Moon Knight suit with the hood, and then you had the Mr. Knight suit with the suit, or the Mr. Knight costume at the end of the credits. If you watch very carefully at the end of the last episode, episode 6, you do see at first when it starts to come together as the Moon Knight suit, it's all black where the mask would be over the hood, and then it transitions to white, and then it goes to the Mr. Knight suit. So with that being in mind, with the personas having different suits, could Jake Lockley's Moon Knight suit look more like he did in Lemire's run with
Possibly.
the black suit and like white armor, which my favorite suit of Moon Knight's, by the way.
Well, I feel like that's probably the way they'll go if they do. If he does come back like that,
Yeah,
will be more of that style. Yeah.
I mean, it would just make sense.
Oh, for sure. It'll be really interesting to get a werewolf at all, like like just some that type of character in the
Yeah.
MCU. I've seen
And
they've been teasing vampires for a long time. We
and
know,
one that is not necessarily a villain, but just an anti-hero.
yeah. And of course, you got Blade coming up, which I think Blade is also being teased to get some kind of update. I'm looking now. I don't see it, but Blade is being teased. There's also a problem. So Variety had a typo in one of their articles about Blade, and they put The Blade as the title of the film. And it was just simply a mistype, but people have run with that as, oh, the title's going to be The Blade. I'm like, no, it was just you can tell it was a misprint because the is not capitalized.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But we should get, maybe we'll get something about Blade, and maybe it'll lead to a Midnight Suns. Maybe Blade has an appearance in Werewolf by Night. Who knows? But we should get, I mean, I would imagine this of all projects we have to get, because this is technically, besides She-Hulk, this is next. Right?
Yeah.
Like She-Hulk's in August, this is October. This is next.
Yeah.
Now I believe it's not a series. I believe it's more of a, almost like a Disney Plus movie. Like it'll be a special, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. So,
yeah, kind of like the what is it? Oh God, what is that movie? Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah,
movie
kind of something along that line. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be done like that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I just want to see. I would love to see their version of a werewolf. Lately, werewolves in movies have not been done well.
Mhm.
Whether you got the much as I hate to bring it up, the full on wolves that we got in Twilight, that bullshit,
Yeah.
or like the sickly, mange ridden, meth looking ones we got from Harry Potter, or whatever. Werewolves have not gotten a fair shake recently. So
Probably not since the Underworld series that
even
we've had
then,
decent.
even then, just not gone well.
Yeah. I mean the first one was okay, but then the rest is just like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that'll be that. All right, moving on. Marvels. The Marvels. Hot off the amazing Miss Marvel series that we got. It is believed that we'll get something from the Marvels film. Now that film was supposed to come out in February next year. It got moved to July 28th, the day before my birthday. I think part of that is just scheduling and whatnot, filming.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get a scene or two or some behind the scenes footage or something. But I would imagine coming off of Miss Marvel, they're going to do something because Miss Marvel was very, very good.
Yes.
And set up a great tease at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that one seems pretty.
Yeah, I'd say that one's pretty likely that we'll get something. I mean, definitely not going to get a trailer, but we'll get a little tease of something.
Secret Invasion. It's currently undergoing reshoots right now. So it doesn't look like it'll necessarily make it to this year getting released, but it'll probably be like the first of next year, maybe even leading up to Quantumania. So similar to the release of WandaVision in January of last year, it'll be like that. But I mean, maybe we'll get some more ideas of what's going on with Secret Invasion coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some plot points or something.
Another one we should get maybe some stills at least of what's going. Something. Now remember, like, and the part of the reason I'm saying this, but Kevin Feige did promise. He did promise that we would know where the direction of the story for the entire MCU was going after Comic-Con. All the people bitching about Phase 4 not having no direction and having no connection and blah, 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 which they're completely wrong. And I've done a whole series of videos on why they're wrong. And people tend to look at the history of the MCU with rose-tinted glasses. and they fail to realize that Phase 1, the only connection we had was that these people existed in the same universe, and that there was a possibility of a team up. We were possibly leading to the Avengers. There was no talk of Infinity Stones. Thanos didn't even show up until the post-credit scene of Avengers, and even then, that was done by Josh Whedon, and Kevin Feige had not planned on the Infinity Saga by that time. In fact, everything for the studio still hinged on Avengers being successful. So there was no connection there. Phase 2 is even less connected when you really break it down. It wasn't till towards the end of Phase 2 that we even started talking about Infinity Stones and leading to Phase 3. And that's where we finally had like full-on connected stories. But even then, there were still individual stories. Phase 4 has been far more connected than people give it credit. And it's also rebuilding, in a sense. A lot of, either they died or they retired or whatever. We've lost a lot of the original characters. We're building a new foundation. That being said, Kevin Feige has promised we would find out at least somewhat of the direction of where the... So could that be through Secret Invasion? It just feels to me like that's one of the big plays here, Secret Invasion.
Yeah. Because that does seem like a big Avengers kind of team up for multiple heroes would be taking place. So I can definitely see, you're laying all the seeds with the new characters we're introducing, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight. And even though, ours isn't not planning on coming back right now that we're aware of, and a bunch of other people. We do have Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and a few others to go into Secret Invasion. And then once all that gets done, we can probably kind of figure out where we're going from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got the Thunderbolts movie coming up. That's been confirmed.
Yeah.
We've been building to this. I mean, and in the comics, the Secret Invasion turned out to be Skrulls pretending to be a lot of our favorite heroes and villains in an attempt to take over the world. Now, however, in the MCU, Skrulls have been deemed as this refugee population of good people, it seems.
Yeah.
That being said, there could be an offshoot of evil Skrulls. Or they could just flip it and it's the Kree. Because the Kree, for all intents and purposes, have been villains in the MCU. So it could be flipped. But you've got Samuel L. Jackson reprising his role. You've got the addition of Oscar winner Olivia Colman, as well as Game of Thrones alum Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
So you've got a stellar cast. You've got plenty of people to pull from. Should be a good series, and we should find out something Saturday. Speaking of finding out something on Saturday, it seems we'll probably get a title for Captain America 4. They did just get a director in Julius Ona, so we don't expect to see much from that film, but a title. I'm expecting like the traditional, like throw up a title card of releases. One of them will be Captain America 4 with whatever title it's going to. I know some people have talked about it being Secret Empire, but it doesn't make any sense, honestly.
Oh, that does not make sense at all.
I've seen like Captain America Serpent Society, which is kind of cool, but don't forget the original Captain America Civil War was supposed to be Captain America Serpent Society, and they realized that it wasn't going to work then, so I don't know why they think it would work now. But maybe it will. I don't know. There's some others, but I think that whatever it is, we'll find out. We should find out more about Daredevil's new season coming up, hopefully. And on top of that, also Echo, which apparently Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are both reprising their roles as Daredevil and Kingpin in that show, and should help spin off into the new Daredevil season. So all in all, that should help. And there's another rumor that Kristen Ritter will be back as Jessica Jones, albeit a new version.
Yeah, I did hear
an
that.
MCU version. But that's not been confirmed. But maybe that does get confirmed at Saturday's panel. My biggest fear is that by adding Charlie Cox, Christian Ritter, and Vincent D'Onofrio, you're taking away from Echo the character by putting in too many cameos.
Yeah.
So that is my hope that they don't do that. I cannot say her name to save my life. The actress who plays Echo.
Yeah, I do not recall myself.
I'm looking at it and it's ALAQUA Cox. Alaqua Cox, maybe.
Maybe, possibly.
I'd like to see her shine. I'd like to see her. I like to see the character shine, and I'd rather it not be her working with Daredevil. I'd prefer it to be focused on her. So, plus we're getting a Daredevil series, so let's not make it so important.
Yeah,
Almost
let's
kind of like Yelena in the Hawkeye series, just an additional character, but not super important that it pulls away from everything.
Yeah. So yeah, what we're gonna do about the deaf girl? Let's put the blind guy with her.
Yeah, but I mean, like they dated for a while in the comics too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean, just like with like we talked about last week with Miss Marvel, it's a newer character. I don't know anything about her. I thought she was interesting in the Hawkeye, but I definitely needed her character fleshed out just a little bit more for me to be more curious about her.
Well, I think the reason they really didn't is because they had already that show was announced before
Yeah,
Hawkeye had
before,
actually released.
yeah,
So they had already planned on it. So I think that's why they didn't feel the need to really. And plus, again, that's the problem with these 6-episode arcs is that you can't,
yeah.
and especially with all the characters they have. So another rumor, and this is kind of backed up by the fact that they have announced that next week, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Logan are all coming to Disney Plus.
Ooh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Not censored, R-rated, coming to Disney Plus. Off the heels of that, it is believed that we're going to get some kind of news about Deadpool 3. What exactly that is, I don't know. I don't know. But something. I know we have writers. I don't think we have oh no, we have a director. It's is it Adam McKay that's directing it?
Um, God, that's maybe I don't remember.
Pretty sure it is. John Levy, sorry.
Hmm.
It was I always get those two mixed up. John Levy, who just directed Ryan Reynolds in the Adam Project on Netflix, which wasn't bad at all. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Also Free Guy, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
So I look forward. He'll just let Ryan Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get something out of this. Maybe even if we just get a release date, that'd be nice.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I would be really wondering about.
But it will be the first R-rated film in the MCU. They've already said that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
And plus, it would bring up the question: is this the Deadpool that we have grown accustomed to with the first two films, or is this going to be an MCU variant of Deadpool?
From what I understand, what Ryan Reynolds has said in interviews is that they won't ignore what happened in the previous films, but he's kind of, because of his full on fourth wall breaking mentality and understanding he's kind of in a movie and whatnot, it'll be more like references
Uh-huh.
to how things have changed. Now he's in a whole new place, that kind of thing. But it's still the same character. Two more things that are really out there as far as rumors go. Fantastic Four and X-Men. Um, Supposedly we might get casting rumors or casting acknowledgement of Fantastic Four. We don't even have a director though. So because John Watts has walked away.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's unfortunate.
it is, but I get it. He's kind
Yeah,
of tapped out. I understand. And he still wants to come back for the other Spider-Man film, so he needs a break, and I get it.
yeah, I understand that.
Um, but like a lot of rumors have it that John Krasinski will not be back. I mean, they did say, Sam Raimi has come out and said that the only reason he was cast for that cameo was pure fan service.
Hmm.
So there may not be any long-term plans, but honestly, with the director chair being open, this is the perfect time to
Zack
snag him.
Snyder.
Oh God, don't start that. Start
Sorry.
that.
I'm sorry.
He'll never do a Marvel movie. Mainly because they won't give him, even though they're letting directors have more control, they're not going to give him the control he would want.
Yeah.
But John Krasinski could direct it as well, and I think do a very good job. Uh, that being said, I just at this point I trust Marvel to cast it correctly, so whoever they pick, I'll be down for it. And when it comes to the X-Men, I don't expect to hear anything. I know we're getting some X-Men 97 news tomorrow,
Yeah.
as well as Spider-Man freshman year news on the animated side of things. I don't expect to really get much on the mutant front
No, I really
this go
don't
around.
either.
They just laid that bomb. I don't think they're gonna like
Yeah, go into
completely
its
lay it out.
detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that would make absolutely no sense to drop that much information about mutants, and we've only had one reference to a mutant, not mutants as a population or in general, but one confirmed mutant in the MCU thus far. So talking more about it just would not make sense and just get people more worked up and come up with crazy bullshit theories,
Now to play devil's advocate,
which you love to do.
I do love to do. He did at 2018 as a kind of a throwaway line. Oh, we ran out of time. We didn't even get time to talk about mutants or the Fantastic Four. So people are probably going to think that they're going to bring up something about these because he teased it at the last All H
Yeah, yeah.
panel. But and of course, there's another rumor that just came out about there's a movie called The Mutants that's supposed to be coming out. But I think what people fail to realize is one, this was a rumor 2 years ago as well, or 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and the logo that's supposedly the official logo, it's literally the New Mutants logo from the comics with the word "new" blacked out.
Yeah.
They didn't even bother to move the word "the" to the center. They left the off to the side, blacked out the word "new," and just left mute.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's fake. So now the biggest rumor comes off a supposed leaked concept art photo that has in turn matched up with one of the characters, I believe, in a Secret Invasion. Or no, I think it was from a set photo from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Either way, there's a character who's wearing a particular type of jacket, has a particular type of haircut. That character is seen in that concept art with none other than Doctor Doom. So the biggest rumor is that Doctor Doom will be stated as coming and possibly even with a casting. That being said, I don't believe that concept art is real. Marvel Studios has a dedicated team of concept artists. They have a very particular look in their concept art. This concept art does not match their style. It could have very be easy. The reason that the other guy in the photo, his haircut and the jacket match, is because that guy's been seen before in behind the scenes stuff. So whoever the fan was that created the art could have taken that person for that reason, or maybe it's real. I don't know. But I think that there might be a mention of Doctor Doom. It feels like a stretch to get that so quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if you're gonna put him in a post credit scene. Like, you wouldn't talk about Thanos before Avengers, would you?
exactly. I was about to bring up the same point. I mean, I know before Phase 4 started, or right when it started with the release of WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Look, I can speak, I swear. But anyway, that Kang had been mentioned as the new big bad.
Yeah.
But that really got me thinking. I was like, why would they announce that so soon? Because, they didn't do it with Thanos. And I understand that Thanos was an afterthought after the first Avengers film. But still, now do you have this idea that, you can lay groundwork for a potential bigger villain, not just for a standalone for a film? Why would you announce that so quickly unless you're doing that just to mislead?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can cover up a potential bigger threat later on.
Yeah,
and it does make sense that Doom would be coming to the MCU because we are getting Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes absolute sense. But, you have so many people saying, oh, this says this that kind of looks like Von Doom. And, things like that. And so, people are reaching, hoping to figure out, is this an Easter egg for Dr. Doom? Is that a hint towards Dr. Doom? And whatever. But the truth is, we really won't know until we get some kind of confirmation.
And I can kind of see Doctor Doom being the big bad, but at the same time, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, if they're going to the Secret Wars route, in which Doctor Doom becomes a god in over Battle World, then maybe. But Doctor Doom has become a global threat, really only recently in the comics.
Yeah.
And when I say recently, I mean within the last 20 years. But like, there was a lot of decades of build-up before we got to that. Yes. And that's because he's a Fantastic Four villain first. And I just don't like bringing him in and then suddenly making him a global or even universal threat, which is what you need at this point. Especially with the amount of cosmic stuff we have going on. If you're going to do a overarching story, it has to be a cosmic level villain. And we've seen people like Eternity, Living Tribunal, at least tease, not fully. Like, there's so many things. I don't know about Doctor Doom necessarily being that big bad. The Kang, on the other hand, I can see making that jump to a universal big bad because of how much he plays with time.
Yeah.
I can understand turning him into a universal big bad.
I mean, because unlike Doom, where people think they've seen teases for him, we have definitely had one Kang the Conqueror reference already. That's confirmed. And that was the Roman Tut symbol in Moon Knight on that kid's jacket.
Yeah.
So that's already one hint. I mean, other than the fact that we got He Who Remains in Loki. So that's two confirms versus people just reaching for Dr. Doom.
And we know we're going to see more in Loki 2 as well as Quantum Mania. And that feels to me more like you're building towards a big bad. And like he mentioned how some Kangs are far worse than him and this and that. Like, there's so much like, and maybe that's the wool over our heads kind of thing. Maybe that is like, oh, it looks like they're building to Kang to being the big bad, and when in reality ends up being Dr. Doom or somebody else. I don't know. Just Doom doesn't feel cosmic enough to me.
Well, Doom is just, like you said, in the last 20 years, Doom has been the one villain that has balanced, technological power, cosmic energy power and also magic power.
Yeah.
Because in the comic, he's very technologically smart. He's a genius. He built that his suit for himself that also kind of acts like a self repair and life support system, almost kind of like Darth Vader. But also, his mother was a witch in the comics. I don't know, if we do get an MCU Doom, I don't know how much that'll play in, but he has used the Darkhold many times in the comics. And we just saw the Darkhold in Multiverse of Madness with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but now it's gone in every universe.
Yeah, that's true too.
But there's other forms of dark magic that he can get into.
Exactly.
If you're gonna make Doom the big bad, you gotta maybe plant that seed now, though, because you gotta build up to him. But I just don't. It doesn't fully make sense to me just yet. So we'll see.
I also agree. I also agree that there's been no seeds planted for whatever, and if they are, they're so minute that like I said, people are just reaching to find some little breadcrumb to support their theories or support their headcanon. But until I actually see something credible in a series or a movie, I'm just not going to believe that Doom would be the ultimate big bad for phase 4, 5, or whatever. Because there's just no legit actual proof that he exists right now.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, there's plenty of ways they could do it. So if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it, and we'll have to see. But I don't know if we're gonna get anything about Doom this weekend, but we'll see. Before we wrap everything up, we have another new segment we want to do. We don't have a title for the segment yet, but it's basically, what are you reading? We're gonna try to pick up some new books each week. It could also go for shows that we're watching or whatever. It doesn't have to necessarily be comic books, but it's kind of an excuse to get back into reading comic books. So we'll start with you. What are you reading?
All right, this week I picked up the new Shang-Chi #1, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings #1. I thought the movie was really good, and it got me interested in the character. So there are a few books from the previous Shang-Chi series that lead into this. I might go pick those later. I've read about half this book so far, and it's been really fun read so far. It's been interesting to see the comic Shang-Chi compared to the movie's Shang-Chi that we got. The next one that I picked up this week was one of my favorite characters in in Marvel, Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood. It's it's an anthology series of short stories. There's usually about 3 to 4 stories in each issue. This is issue 3, so there's 2 other issues. If you guys are interested in picking those up, you can probably find those at your local comic book shops. And some of the stories are really good. The first story in this issue is hilarious. The second one is pretty good. The third one is a little quirky by my taste, but they're all still really good. So that's what I've been reading this week. Vince, how about you?
Well, I inadvertently, I went to my local comic book shop. They opened up a new comic book shop near the house. And I picked up 2 books. One's a DC book and one is an independent book from Scout Comics. And I inadvertently have a theme. Didn't mean to have a theme, but I have a theme. So the first book I picked up was DC versus Vampires All Out War #1. Lighting sucks. Right there. This is a variant cover.
Oh, that's a nice variant.
Yeah, I didn't like the other cover. It's got Bane fighting some stuff. But I did like this cover a lot. And basically what it is there's a vampire virus that affects not only humans, but affects metahumans.
Ooh.
And this is a world where there's only like 3,000 people left in the entire world uninfected. They live in this place. Heroes and villains alike have come together to just kind of try to find a way to save humanity as well as recreate society. Deathstroke is one of them. They've also found in this one the vampires were all destroying the Lazarus pits, and there's one Lazarus pit left. And the reason it turns out they were destroying them is because Lazarus pits is the cure for the virus.
Interesting.
But it goes very haywall very fast. Obviously, the other comic I got is one that I've heard a lot about on the independent scene, and it's called She Bites. So again, I ended up with a vampire theme, completely inadvertent. But this one is a little girl, 7, 8, 9 years old, but she's actually 600 years old because she's a vampire.
Right.
And she ends up getting herself a babysitter, mainly because at her age, she can't buy cigarettes, she can't buy alcohol, she can't do the stuff she wants to do. So she literally hires a babysitter, and the babysitter she happens to hire is this like emo goth girl who's really ready to kill herself. And it's bloody, it's gruesome, but it's very funny, very tongue in cheek. So it's a lot of fun to read. I'm looking forward to the rest of the series on this one, and I'm looking forward to where this story is going. Now, a lot of the art in this is done like black and white style, where just red is the only color. I don't know how I feel about that just yet. I do like the noir stuff. I actually draw that stuff in a while, but we'll see where it goes from there. Speaking of, I want to make one more announcement before we leave, and I will talk about this again pretty much every week building up to it. For any of you that are in Florida or are willing to make the drive, there is a small convention, a comic book, toy, and anime convention called the Citrus Comic Con. Citrus Comic Con will be held, Citrus County Comic Con, sorry, will be held at the College of Florida in Citrus, in Crystal River, Florida. I will be having an art table with my dad because I do art, fan art, stuff like that. So as I work on projects, I'll show them off here as well. But we'll be selling art that day. It's Saturday. It's October 8th. It's like 6 hours. And so that'll be something coming up as well. So, yeah.
Why do we have to live 2 states away?
I know, it sucks. But that's October 8th. Plenty of time to make travel plans for anybody who wants to come down. But yeah. So thank everybody for tuning in. Appreciate everybody in the comments. Had lots of fun. Like we said, we're going to try Saturday to live stream Marvel's panel at Hall H and react in real time to that. So if you have time on Saturday, stick around for that. That'll be same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So keep an eye out for that. And keep your notifications on. Like I said, if you hit that follow button, subscribe button, or the follow button on YouTube. So yeah, just let me know. Let us know. And if there's any other topics you want us to talk about, also let us know. Our socials are up on the screen. You can contact us on TikTok, Instagram, me on Twitter, whatever you want to do. So we will see you guys next week. Peace.